Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of On Campus on the Solano College Sports Network. I'm Christian Villanueva and today I'm joined by a former Falcon, great friend, teammate, and absolute speech beast in public speaking. Please welcome Adam Mitchell. Adam, how you doing?
I'm great now that I got a great intro. I wish I always had that type of intro whenever I walked into a room.
For sure. Well, first off, congratulations on graduating from Solano, where you're now entering Sacramento State, pursuing a degree in computer engineering. Now, what was your journey like going from the community college system to a university environment where it's going to be a much different ball game? What are your thoughts going into that?
I would say for me I've had a somewhat different type of, not necessarily pedigree, but different type of journey in the sense of I started at a university. My freshman year of 2019, the fall of 2019, I went to Hampton University in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And it was a historically black college and I enjoyed my time, but then that semester later, COVID hit. So during COVID, I was like, okay, I'm paying a lot of money for school, but I don't necessarily like how it's online. I should go back to a community college system. I went to a community college and then I ended up not doing so well and did drop a lot of classes as not necessarily a good thing, but it happened. And then ending up coming to Solano. I had taken classes here in the summer that my other school didn't offer. So overall, I would say this journey has been, of course, a lot of up and downs, but it's made me and it's cultivated me to understand who I am as a person. I feel like sometimes the community college system can make you feel stuck because you have a lot of lifelong kind of members who are in it, who are always learning new things. So they don't necessarily want there to be an end goal. They just like learning. So you can kind of get trapped in that sometimes. But I think overall it's a really good system and it really prepares its people to go to the next levels. I really can, thank Solano so much for all the things that it did for me because, even joining the speech and debate team, it allowed me to meet a lot of new people and really understand and cultivate who I am as a person.
Yeah, and so you mentioned the speech and debate team, in which that's where we met.
Exactly.
You joined around the time of spring of 2023, same time I did, but you joined at the latter half, in which you came in wanting to just try it out, see how it is, because you had a classmate who hyped it up for us. And you ended up staying and became a key member of the 2023-2024 season. What about this activity drew you to want to continue competing against competitors not only at Solano, but across the state of California and through the country as well?
I would say, first off, just super side note, my favorite poet over here, as I said 1,000 times, calling me a key member of the team is crazy. But I think early on, seeing how much of a community there was, it really drew me into speech and debate and really made me want to stay. Getting closer to a lot of people and being able to be supported by them really made me understand where I was and be grateful for where I was at. As I mentioned before, as we always talk about, we first competed together at Skyline, or at least the first time I competed with you. You were in my round, my first ever round, and you were just supporting me off the bat. At practices, you were super supportive. Even when I was messing up, funny enough, as my first speech was about LeBron James, now where I'm at with speech and debate, I would be like, okay, you might not want to talk about that, but you guys, that wasn't even an issue for you guys. You were just supporting me no matter what. My speech was only 5 minutes and it had to be 10 minutes. And you guys supported me so much that I was able to break and be in the top 5 because you guys supported me so much. And that support was something I feel like at the time I really needed because, as I mentioned before, I had went to so many different schools that I didn't know if this would be the last school for me, honestly. It was pretty hard, as I mentioned before, through the community college system. Sometimes you feel trapped, sometimes you feel stuck, sometimes you want to give up because you don't feel like you're at that 4-year level or at the highest educational level you should be at for certain people, that is. And you guys supporting me so much, wanting me to do better, us always talking about our experiences and our teachers and everything going on made me really want to stay and become a better speaker. And I can fully thank you guys and also you as well for allowing me to do so, making me the speaker I am today.
For sure. And, you mentioned that in your first term you got top 5, especially being the first ever speech and 5 minutes about LeBron James, you came in with no intention of winning, right? But at the same time, you dominated that space, because of your talent, and we saw that, and we knew that you had potential to become great, and you are great. You entered this space now, and you've had multiple awards, and going to where you mentioned your first tournament, which was Skyline, in which it was me, you, and a couple other competitors. That was really kind of our tournament that shined, right?
Yeah.
But now, recently at the Skyline tournament in May, May of 2024, we came as judges.
Yes.
And you won the Robert Haas Award for Student Judging at the NCFA Spring Fling tournament for novices.
Yeah.
Now, Robert Haas was a former competitor at Solano, and he was known to give his peers good feedback, and you did the same thing too. You know, winning that award at the tournament, what did that mean for you, both as a competitor and as someone part of the community?
Yeah, I mean, like I've been doing so far throughout this interview, I can't even fully take credit. Like throughout my experience when we were judging, I had some of my other teammates, you know, specifically my teammate Malika, who had went to nationals for her speaking, and she helped me actually judge the round in which she had went to nationals for. So she was already familiar with the speaking style and how they were able to, you know, kind of cultivate the way that they were speaking, and how they were able to use a lot of their researching and their developments in order to really speak a lot better. So, you know, of course I got the award for it, but I would be remiss if I didn't, you know, mention her and say that she helped me, which she did. She helped me with the timing. She helped me make sure that people had certain cadences and they knew what they were talking about overall. But I will say this award and that award that I got did mean a lot to me, because it did feel like a full circle moment. It felt like, okay, I started off with this tournament and now I'm ending it, trying to spark the same, or give somebody the same spark in which I had. Kind of give them the best advice as I can, the best judging advice to make sure it's clear enough for them to want to do better. Whereas, you know, not to throw speech and debate under the bus, but we've gotten some feedback, or we call it ballots, from certain judges where it's like, I have no clue what to do with this. Like, you just said I was the best speaker you've ever heard in your life, and you give me last place. You said I am the worst speaker, my time is too fast, and you gave me first place. So it's like kind of all over the place. So I wanted to be direct, and having her in the room and having other people who are my teammates as well kind of help me at that tournament. I can say I got the award, but we all got the award. And it was really great to go and represent Solano and win the award in which someone who was from Solano was able to, you know, put their footprints and kind of give us the space to be awarded these awards.
For sure. And, you know, I know you're giving credit to the whole team, but I would like to give you your credit, your flowers, because, you know, throughout the 2023-2024 season, you were an unstoppable force, not only as a competitor, but as a peer to everybody. You know, everybody at the tournament space would be like, oh, where's Adam? Literally, you were the, you know, you were a social butterfly, and every school, you know, wanted to know where you're at. And you were such a great representation of what Solano is, because, you know, when all the other schools were stressing out, you were a beacon of light and hope for other schools to want to, you know, keep a smile on their face in a very stressful environment where we've been at tournaments since like 7 a.m. up till, you know, 9 p.m. For some schools till overnight, because they had to, like, you know, drive back to their schools. Yep. How does that make you feel, being a beacon of hope in a stressful environment to not just your teammates, but to other people as well?
It really, I mean, it made me feel really good. Like you mentioned before, when a lot of people would come up to me and say, you know, how you doing, Adam? We came to see you. We just want to have a good time. It made me really understand that's like, as we, you know, we always kind of joke around whenever we're practicing or whenever we're just talking, even outside of school, like, we're doing the one thing that most people are scared to do, which is get up in front of people and speak. And we're not just, you know, saying here and that or doing whatever. We're giving like really great speeches, whether we're trying to debate somebody or persuade somebody in front of a whole audience. You know, people get really nervous at that. And I think when you really understand that power and understand what we're doing, you can be a lot happier. You know me, I'm kind of a little bit of cocky, a little arrogant here and there, some people might say, but that made me that way because it was like, I'm doing something that people are scared to do. People can't get up and give speeches. People can't even get up in a room full of like 10 people and talk without being nervous or scared. Where now we get into these rooms and we're just doing it automatically. So that really made me kind of, when I understood that, I had to like try to express that with other people. Like, you shouldn't be sitting here crying or stressing that you lost. Like, you're doing something on a national level, on a state level, that people can't even do on their daily basis or can't even do in their lives. So I always was that beacon of like, you know, kind of funniness, kind of arrogance, kind of whatever, you know, people might say, because I understood that we're doing something that people can't do. And we should be proud of that. We should really try to celebrate who we are and what we're doing.
Sure. And after an incredible season, of speech and debate. You've won multiple awards, like I mentioned. You got a bronze award at States, and you participated in the 2024 national tournament in Reno. The question is, will you compete with Sacramento State, or will you still continue this activity?
Yeah, I think right now I'm not 100% sure. I think it's something that I thoroughly enjoyed, and it's something that I would love to continue to do. But I don't know how it necessarily is on a 4-year level. It kind of is like the best, the worst. Like I would say Janine and Dr. Doug and my team, you guys were the best, worst teammates. You're the best because I love you guys so much, but you're the worst because now I expect every single one of my teammates to be just like you guys or better. I expect to be able to walk into a room and say whatever, and you guys just look at me and go, what is wrong with you, Adam? And everybody just laughs about it, where it's like, I don't know if it's going to be that same thing on the next level. Because as we've seen before, on a 4-year level, they're so serious, sometimes it gets in their own heads. And like the free kind of roaming in which we're doing, the free kind of frolicking as we're doing currently with speech debate, that's something I always want to kind of have. And that's something I want to cherish. Whether it's I don't want to take it super serious that I'm overstressing and, kind of just having mental breakdowns. So I'm not 100% sure if I'll continue to keep doing speech and debate, but it's something I promise you I'll never forget. The way that we were in classes, outside of classes, bowling, going to each other's houses, doing everything, competing, practicing, yelling at each other, arguing with each other, laughing with each other, everything. It's something I'll never forget. So I don't necessarily know, because if Sac State can do a fourth of that, I still don't even know if I would still think about competing with them. So I'm not 100% sure yet.
I will say, this upcoming season, I'll miss you. I know the team will miss you, and the vibe is going to be completely different. But I think what we can take away from you entering a new chapter of your life is the beacon of light and hope that you brought to our team, and I'm sure that we will continue to be that beacon for other people as well because of you.
Yeah.
Now, as we start to wrap up, as you reflect in your journey in speech and debate and being a part of Solano Community College, what was your favorite memory that you had in the recent years?
For me, was, I think, meeting everybody. I think, of course, speech and debate is pretty high up there, but also the people who I was able to meet in the ASC office, the DSP office, because I am dyslexic. A lot of the people who were in those offices helped me out a lot. Whether it was the Ruiz family, Michaela and her mother, whether it was, you guys, you taking every picture I possibly have in my phone right now because you're that great of a cameraman. It's a lot of those small moments in which I would have never gotten if I would have just, went to class, put my head down, and didn't talk to anybody. It's those moments where once we started talking, we all became friends because, as the saying goes, everybody's a stranger until they're your friend. So I think it's the moments in which I kind of knew from the beginning, it's like, okay, these are the people who are going to be in my life, who are going to help me continuously. Those are the memories I'll never forget from speech and debate, from Solano, from, in the certain offices and the buildings that I am, the communities that we were able to build at Solano, and how we're still trying to rebuild since COVID and kind of get everything kind of going back to what it was, but still having to adapt to everything. I think overall, I'll always remember the people that I met, whether it's, like I mentioned, you guys, the teachers, and or the good and the bad experiences that I had. They're all so memorable. I can't necessarily pinpoint one right now.
For sure. Well, thank you, Adam, for sitting down with me. And best of luck to you at Sac State. We'll miss you here at Solano, but we know that you'll do great things.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to On Campus on the Solano College Sports Network. I'm Christian Villanueva, and we'll see you next time.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just fulfills me as a person.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's
nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have.
On-the-job training is huge.
Get the hands-on experience.
When someone asks who can do it, you can raise your hand and say, I can do it. So
joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
Stand by, we're going to go to cut one. And cut one. Cross court to Audrey Jones. Audrey for three!
and it's good! With 1.3 seconds left on the game clock, Audrey Jones with one of the biggest shots ever.
The sky's the limit, really, with what we can do here.